never wanted to get accepted in the industry world because I know how we came in the game, and I know rappers don't like each other anyway. You know what I'm saying? A lot of friends turn enemies, right? Think about it. Biggie and Tupac was cool, right?
Yeah, very much so.
NBA Youngboy and Dirk was cool, right? They had songs together. Yes, you don't know the history. They was cool, right?
Okay.
The list goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I don't get caught up in the bullshit, man. I just stay humble, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? You know, and we just get into the money over here, man.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a story that has the entire hip-hop world talking. This one involves Tony Yayo, Jim Jones, 50 Cent, Memphis Bleek, NORE, and even a few names you didn't expect to pop up in the mix. And trust me, you're going to want to watch this video until the very end, because what Tony said and the way he handled everything will definitely surprise you. The way he broke it all down was raw, real, and classic Yayo energy. So Tony Yayo recently sat down again for another interview on Vlad TV. And if you've been following Yayo, you know this isn't his first time. In fact, it's his 19th appearance. And this time he came ready to speak his truth. Right off the bat, Vlad asked about the situation with Jim Jones, because 50 Cent had joked that Yayo was taking too long to respond. And Tony didn't shy away. He admitted 50 was right. He said he could have come back swinging, dropped a pin or bragged about houses and money, but instead he decided to stay calm. That's the first sign that this Yayo we're seeing today is not the same one from the early G-Unit days. He's focused, strategic, and definitely grown. But don't think for a second that means he's backing down. Yayo made it clear that the hate people throw his way just fuels him even more. He even said straight up, "When I realize the hate is better for me, I appreciate it." That line alone says a lot about where his mindset is right now. He's learned how to turn negative attention into promotion. He even thanked names like NORE, Memphis Bleek, DJ Academics, Adam 22, Hassan Campbell, Harlem Legend TV, and China Brim, basically saying all that online chatter was just free promo. Yayo said he doesn't go back and forth on the internet. He's not leaving trails for the feds or anyone else to follow. He's seen how messy things can get when people take social media beef too far. He also talked about how NORE texted him at 3 in the morning, telling him to keep the peace because things could get ugly. That's real. It shows people in the industry know that when situations like this spark up, they can go left fast. But Tony said he's not about that anymore. He doesn't want to end up with cases, court dates, or trouble. He prays every night, he keeps his circle tight, and he focuses on leveling up. And here's the hook. He reminded everyone that even though people try to throw dirt on G-Unit's name, they're still the ones everyone watches. Think about it. 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo, that trio made history. And when Yayo said, "Imagine if 50 and Banks got back cool and we did a mixtape tour, we would take over the world," you could feel the pride in his voice. Yayo also called out the fact that G-Unit has always been painted as the bad guys. He said, "Now you go to your favorite TV shows, 50 has action shows, and you still see G-Unit energy everywhere." And he's right. 50 Cent turned his brand into a full entertainment empire. You see it in shows like Power, BMF, Raising Kanan, Force, everywhere. So when people like Jim Jones come at them, Yayo said it's more jealousy than anything else. He said, "You talking about you better than Nas? I don't know who's sniffing coke, me or you." That line went viral because it's classic Tony, blunt, funny, and sharp. But instead of escalating, he flipped it into a positive moment. He said he needed that hate because it's motivation. Then he broke down how the numbers prove his point. He said every time people talk about him, their views go up. His interviews go viral. His analytics jump. And when he went on Shannon Sharp's show, that episode blew up too. He even pointed out that when Memphis Bleek went on other shows talking about him, those episodes also spiked. So Yayo said, he understands the game. It's all promo. He said, "You're trying to push a podcast, so I get it." That's a calm way of saying, "I see what you're doing, but I'm not playing your game." But here's where it gets interesting. Tony started talking about everything he's got going on outside of rap. He's opening a dispensary with Uncle Murda in Queens. He's working on business moves in Harlem and even looking into doing more in Shreveport because of 50 Cent's expansion down there. He even said he's been bringing real movie projects to 50. Not the fake bootleg ones, but serious stories like the Gilgo Beach serial killer case. That's huge. He said his lawyer Bob Macedonia helped him bring that deal to 50. And that's the kind of thing that proves Tony is thinking way beyond music. He's not sitting around watching drama. He's out there making major moves behind the scenes. Now let's pause for a second because this part right here shows you how far he's come. Tony said he doesn't care about bragging anymore. He's been had money. He's been had property. He said he and 50 were buying houses in their 20s. He said, we can always do house wars if you want, but I just stay humble. That's grown man talk. He's not out here comparing who's got the biggest car or the biggest chain. He's more focused on staying grounded. He even said he's not interested in showing off because it doesn't matter in the long run. That's something a lot of rappers never learn until it's too late. When Vlad asked him about Memphis Bleek's response, Yayo said he felt like it was all a promo campaign funded by NORE. He said it was all about pushing content, not real beef. He even reminded everyone that back in the day, Beanie Siegel wanted to join G-Unit. So did Fabulous. Even K. Michel and Olivia were mentioned when he got out of jail. That tells you how much power G-Unit had back then. Yayo said everybody wanted to be signed to G-Unit. And honestly, he's not wrong. In the early 2000s, they were on top of the world. Then Vlad asked what Jim Jones was upset about, and Yayo said something that made people stop and think. He said he never said anything bad about Jim. He doesn't talk crazy on the internet, and he doesn't even care about that kind of drama. He said, well, dudes are chilling in front of bodegas. I'm in Morocco eating smoked duck. That's a flex, but a classy one. He's showing that his lifestyle is on another level. He talked about being in Italy with billionaires, hanging around Leonardo DiCaprio, and moving in rooms where people are building empires, not arguments. He even said his silence was the real response, because while everyone else was arguing, he was on a private jet with 50 Cent and Uncle Murda, laughing and living life. But even with all the success, Tony didn't act like he's above anyone. He said he understands jealousy and knows it comes with the game. He said G-Unit was never trying to be accepted by the industry anyway because they came into the game as outsiders. That's what made them different. And he's right. A lot of rappers start out as friends, but end up enemies. He even compared it to Biggie and Tupac, and NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk, how people can be cool one day and enemies the next. He said that's just the game. It's how it works. So he doesn't get caught up in it anymore. He just stays humble, stays moving, and keeps getting money. Now here's where it gets powerful again. Yayo said his response to everything is success. He said, my answer is being on a private jet eating smoked duck in Morocco. That line right there became a meme because it's the most effortless clapback ever. He doesn't need to diss anybody. His lifestyle speaks for him. And when Vlad tried to push further, asking about Jim's shows, Yayo didn't throw shade. He just asked a real question. He said, when's the last time you've seen Jim Jones or Memphis Bleek go on their own personal tour? And then he explained how he just did shows in the Swiss Alps. Not Vermont, but the actual Swiss Alps. That's a whole different level. He said, people have to attack the ones doing numbers. That's true. Whenever someone's name starts trending, the haters come out. Yayo said he did all this without a publicist, without management, just him and the fans. That's real independence. He said every interview goes viral because people connect with what he says. And it's true. He's become one of the most interesting voices in hip-hop media. People watch his interviews not just for gossip, but for the realness and honesty he brings. He never sugarcoats anything. Then he talked again about his dispensary in Queens with Uncle Murda, reminding everyone that no matter what people say online, he keeps winning. He said, I always win because I stay humble. And that's the theme of this entire story, the power of staying grounded when the world is trying to drag you into drama. He even said that when he was younger, he was the type to say, drop a pin, we could link, but he's not on that time anymore. He said, we were young, we were wild, now it's about business. And that's something you have to respect. He also gave a lot of love to 50 Cent, saying 50 is in a different space now. He said, 50's got so much money, he's just having fun. That's a big brother kind of love. Yayo isn't trying to compete with 50. He's proud of him. He said he understands that 50 jokes and moves differently because he's in a new phase of life. And when you think about it, that's what made G-Unit stand out from every other crew. Loyalty. Even when they argue or poke fun, there's still respect underneath it all. Yayo also said that hate actually helps him write better. He said, I'm back pushing the pen. That means he's back in the booth, working on music again, and ready to go song for song with anybody. That's confidence, but it's also hunger. He said it doesn't matter if it's music, business, or anything else. He's going to keep winning because he understands how to play the game. He said, if I went back and forth, it would have made them go viral. I know how it works. So that shows you he's not being reactive anymore. He's strategic. And here's one of the most important parts of the whole interview. Yayo said that even if he found the cure for cancer, he wouldn't get the same attention as when people talk bad about him. That's a deep truth about social media. He said, it's cool, it's all promo. And he's right. These days, negativity spreads faster than positivity. But Yayo figured out how to use that to his advantage. He turns every mention, every diss, every rumor into momentum. He doesn't chase the hate, he embraces it. He closed by saying he's still on jets, still doing business, still making money, and still staying focused. And if you've followed Tony Yayo over the years, that's really what defines him now. From his early days running with 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks to now being a global businessman with ties in the entertainment and cannabis world, Yayo's growth has been real. He's still loyal to his crew, still connected to the streets, but he's also smart enough to know that peace is power. And that's something most people don't realize until much later in life. So when people ask if Tony Yayo finally responded to Jim Jones, the answer is yes, but not in the way you might expect. He didn't drop a diss track, he didn't post a rant. His response was showing success, staying humble, and living good. He said his numbers are up, his businesses are thriving, and his name is hotter than ever. And maybe that's the best kind of response, not words but actions, the kind that can't be faked. And honestly, watching how 50 Cent, Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and even Uncle Murda continue to evolve, you can see why their circle stays winning. They all learned how to turn pressure into progress. And while people might still bring up the old G-Unit days, Yayo made it clear that chapter made him who he is today, sharp, smart, and focused. So if you've been wondering what really happened between Tony Yayo and Jim Jones, there you have it. It's not beef, it's business. It's not anger, it's awareness. And at the end of the day, Yayo said it best. He's too busy winning to worry about who's talking. He's eating smoked duck in Morocco, doing shows in the Swiss Alps, building dispensaries in Queens, and making movie deals with 50 Cent. That's not just a comeback, that's evolution. So keep watching because this story is far from over. You never know when Yayo, 50 Cent, and Banks might surprise everyone again with a reunion. And if that ever happens, hip-hop will never be the same. Until then, keep an eye on Tony Yayo because while others are talking, he's quietly taking over. Now, what's really fascinating about Tony Yayo's response is how much it says about where hip-hop beefs have gone in 2025. Back in the early 2000s, when 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo were first running the game, every disagreement turned into a diss record, a mixtape war, or a street confrontation. But now you can see how these guys have evolved. They've learned that the real power is in ownership, business, and branding. Yayo's calmness isn't weakness, it's control. It's maturity that comes from seeing too much, surviving too much, and realizing peace pays better than war. And while Jim Jones might have been taking shots or stirring up conversation, Tony's entire response flipped the energy. He didn't let the conversation become about ego, he made it about growth. And that's something not everyone in the industry can say. Even when he said he could have told Jim to drop a pin or bragged about money, he caught himself. He said, "It's not worth it." That shows emotional intelligence, something we rarely see in public beefs anymore. But don't mistake Tony's calmness for softness. You could hear it in his voice. That same street edge, that same confidence that built G-Unit from the ground up is still there. He just knows when to turn it on and when to let silence speak for itself. And sometimes silence is louder than any diss record could ever be. Because while Jim Jones and others might be online talking, Tony is busy signing contracts, opening businesses, and getting paid in peace. Now, let's talk about that line that had everyone talking. When Yayo said, "When I don't talk about these dudes, it's crickets for them." That one hit hard because he's right. When Yayo speaks, people listen. His Vlad interviews pull millions of views. His moments go viral on social media. And every time he sits down, whether it's with Vlad, Shannon Sharp, or anyone else, the streets tune in. That's power. That's influence. And that's something you can't fake. He even mentioned that when he did Shannon Sharp's show, Memphis Bleek came right after. That wasn't a coincidence. That was strategic timing. Everyone wanted to capitalize off Yayo's buzz. But Tony's not upset about that. He sees it as business. He said it himself. It was good promo. He's learned how to make the hate work for him, and that's something every artist can learn from. And let's not overlook how many people Yayo shouted out in that interview. From NORE to academics to Adam 22 to Hassan Campbell, that's a sign of a man who understands the ecosystem. He knows that media is part of the game. He's not fighting the system, he's working with it. He knows how to make sure his name stays in the conversation without crossing lines that could cost him peace or freedom. He even said the hate is good motivation. That's a statement that tells you everything about how he sees the world now. Instead of taking offense, he turns it into drive. Every time someone throws shade, it's another reminder to work harder, to level up, to stay focused. And if you've been watching G-Unit over the years, that's the mindset they've always had. Turn struggle into strength. Now, when he mentioned the idea of 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks linking back up for a mixtape tour, fans went wild. Because let's be real, a G-Unit reunion would break the internet. He said it humbly, but everyone knows he meant it. That crew changed hip-hop. From Beg for Mercy to Get Rich or Die Trying, they had the world in a chokehold. And seeing how they've all evolved, 50 turning into one of the most powerful TV producers in the world, Banks focusing on pure bars and lyricism, and Yayo branching into business, it's clear they're all winning in their own ways. But even now, Yayo made sure to remind everyone that G-Unit has always been misunderstood. He said, "We were always the bad guys." That line hit differently, because for years people painted G-Unit as aggressive, unapproachable, or arrogant. But what they really were was fearless. They came into a system that didn't want to accept them and made themselves undeniable. And now, years later, that same energy is still intimidating people. When he said people have evil eyes when they see you level up, it wasn't just words, that's real life. Because jealousy is everywhere, especially in the music industry. But Yayo said he prays every night, he stays humble, and he focuses on blessings. That kind of mindset keeps him grounded even while he's flying high, literally and figuratively. He also spoke about how he's bringing movie ideas to 50 Cent. That's something that might go over people's heads, but it's a big deal. The Gilgo Beach serial killer story he mentioned, that's the kind of project that could become a full series or film. And the fact that Tony Yayo is out here scouting and developing stories like that tells you he's not just a rapper, he's a businessman, a creative, and a thinker. And you can tell that this new chapter in his life is about legacy. He's not chasing trends, he's building things that last. The dispensary, the film ideas, the performances overseas, all of that shows a long-term mindset. He's not moving for likes, he's moving for longevity. But what really stood out to fans is how he handled Jim Jones's comments. Instead of coming out angry or defensive, Tony just smiled through it. He said, "It's all promo." That's how you know someone's mastered the game. He even said when people talk about him, their numbers go up, and that's true. He understands how attention works, and that's why he never loses. Now, let's talk about the part where he said, "I'm in Morocco eating smoked duck." That line instantly went viral because it represents everything Yayo stands for right now: peace, success, and focus. He's not worried about small talk when he's in a completely different lane. He said he's in Italy with billionaires, in Europe doing shows, living life at a pace most artists only dream about. That's how you respond to hate, not with anger, but with altitude. And when he said, "I'm in the Swiss Alps," you can almost feel how proud he was. Because it wasn't about showing off, it was about showing the difference. He's not stuck in the same circles arguing online. He's out there moving globally, performing in places some artists have never even visited. That's how you separate yourself from noise, by leveling up. But one of the strongest takeaways from everything Yayo said is his relationship with 50 Cent. You can tell there's still deep brotherhood and loyalty there. Even when 50 jokes that Yayo is taking too long to respond, there's mutual respect. They've been through everything together, from the streets to fame, from jail time to sold-out tours, and they still stand united. Yayo even said 50's in a place where he's just having fun. That's what real friendship looks like, understanding your brother's energy even when he's teasing you. And he also made a powerful point about how most of their real beefs back in the day weren't even with rappers. He said half the dudes we had problems with weren't even rappers, they were street dudes. That's a reminder that the industry can look flashy on the surface, but behind it, real situations happen. And that's exactly why Tony refuses to argue online, because he knows how quickly words can turn into something serious. And the way he talked about money was refreshing. He said we were buying houses in our 20s. That's not flexing, that's perspective. He's reminding everyone that while people are chasing clout now, he's been financially set for years. That's why he doesn't need to prove anything. His history speaks louder than any online argument. Then he went even deeper. He said, I don't worry about rappers, I worry about the stupid people in the entourage ready to crash out. That one line shows exactly how smart and aware Tony Yayo is. He's been around too long to fall into traps. He knows that when ego takes over, it's usually the people around you who make things worse. And that's why he chooses to stay out of drama, because he's seen what happens when people let emotions control them. Now, toward the end of the interview, Yayo said something that's probably one of the most honest things he's ever said. He said, even if I found a cure for cancer, I wouldn't make the same headlines as when someone talks bad about me. That right there is truth. It's not bitterness, it's reality. People love negativity, but Yayo doesn't let that bother him. He said it's all promo, and he uses it to his advantage. And that's exactly why his story matters, because it's not just about Tony Yayo responding to Jim Jones. It's about showing that growth, wisdom, and patience are the new form of strength. It's about proving that peace is power, and that success is the ultimate clapback. So, if you're still watching this video right now, make sure you stay with me till the very end, because we're not done yet. The story of Tony Yayo isn't just about beef or music. It's about transformation. It's about how someone can come from chaos, face hate, survive the industry,